The next topic that we have is average revenue and marginal revenue under perfect competition. So we have read about the relationship between the average revenue and the marginal revenue. So we have studied that when average revenue falls, marginal revenue will be less than average revenue, and when average revenue remains the same, then marginal revenue will be equal to average revenue. So that is the basic relation that is occurring between average revenue and marginal revenue. So what happens to average revenue and marginal revenue under perfect competition? So we have studied in average revenue that whether average revenue is different from price. So we have answered that question. So whether the two concepts, that is average revenue and price, is the same or not. So our answer was that if a seller sells various units of product at the same price, then average revenue is equal to price. But when a producer or a product is sold with a different price level, then marginal revenue is not equal to the price. But the first case was when a producer sells a product at a same price for different units of product, then average revenue will be equal to the price. So that is the case of perfect competition. So perfect competition, price is given. A producer or a seller cannot set their own price, but under perfect competition, a price is set and everyone has to take that price. So we shall see what is the relation or what is the situation of average revenue and marginal revenue under perfect competition. So we can illustrate these two by the help of this table number 1. So number of units sold, number of product which is sold is given here in column 1. So there are 10 units here, and price is given here, or price or average revenue, because it is under perfect competition. And as we have mentioned, under perfect competition, price and average revenue will be the same, and price is constant here because a seller or a producer cannot set their own price, but a constant price is set or given, which is 16, given in column 2. So how do we get this total revenue? We get this total revenue by multiplying the price with the number of units or quantity of product or unit that is sold. So 1 into 16 is 16, 2 into 16 is 32. So we get this total revenue by multiplying price into units of, quantity of units that is sold. How do we get this marginal revenue? Marginal revenue is nothing but we divide the total revenue by the price. We get this marginal revenue by dividing the marginal revenue with the quantity of unit that is sold. So total revenue divided by unit, number of unit that is sold. So total revenue here is 16 divided by 1 is 16, and 32 divided by 2 is again 16, 48 divided by 3 is again 16, and 64 divided by 4 is again 16. So for all units, marginal revenue will remain the same. So it is all 16. And how we get marginal revenue is we divide total revenue by the quantity of unit that is sold. So again, even the last total revenue 160 divided by 10 is again 16. And likewise, column 3, so this is column 3, will show the total revenue when various quantities of product are sold. So total revenue has been found out, as I have said, by multiplying the quantity sold with the price. So it will be found from taking out the difference between two total revenue, or between two successive total revenue that Marginal revenue in this case is equal to the price, so that is 16. So price is given here 16, and marginal revenue is also 16. And the one way of finding out marginal revenue is subtracting the value of all the successive total revenue. So 32 minus 16 is 16, and then 48 minus 32 is 16, and 64 minus 48 is also 16. So you will find out that the difference between two successive total revenues, that marginal revenue in this case is equal to the price. So the difference between two successive total revenue is the marginal revenue, and this marginal revenue which we got by subtracting two successive total revenue will be equal to the price, that is 16. So price is all 16 here, and even the marginal revenue is 16 here. So that is under perfect competition. So when 2 units of goods are sold instead of 1, the total revenue increased from rupees 16 to 32, as I have explained. So in the case of perfect competition, when for an individual firm, the average revenue or price remains constant and marginal revenue is equal to the average revenue or the price under perfect competition, and we shall see that with the help of the graphical representation. So in case of perfect competition, the marginal revenue will be equal to the average revenue or the price. So table 1, figure 1 is the graphical representation of average revenue, marginal revenue, total revenue under perfect competition. So first let us study the graph of panel A. So panel A is about total revenue curve of a firm under perfect competition. So on the x-axis we are measuring the quantity of output that is produced. On the y-axis we have total revenue, and O is the origin. So this panel A in figure 1, we have shown the total revenue curve TR. So this is a total revenue curve. It is a straight line from the origin. So it is a straight line starting from the origin. It is not a curve, or it is not concave or convex, but it is a straight line starting from the origin. So what does this straight line starting from origin indicate? So it indicates two things. First one is that the slope of the total revenue curve is constant. The slope would mean this. So the slope of this total revenue curve is constant. That is the first point that you have to understand. When there is a total revenue curve which is a straight line starting from the origin, which indicates that the slope of this total revenue curve would remain constant. Further, since number 2, this straight line TR curve is starting from the origin, which means that the average revenue, which is the price, will also remain constant, and the marginal revenue will be equal to it. So the second thing that you have to understand is, since it is starting from the origin, the average revenue AR, which is also indicating the price, will also remain constant, and marginal revenue will be equal to it. So average revenue will be equal to marginal revenue, since the average revenue is remaining constant. So because price or average revenue is given when it comes to perfect competition. This is because as we have explained above in this chapter, a firm working under perfect competition a price is set or a price is given and it is constant. A price of the product is given and it is constant. And individual firm cannot set a price for their own firm. That is why price is given or average revenue is remaining constant. That is why it is starting from origin straight line. And when average revenue is constant, then marginal revenue will also be equal to average revenue. That is panel A. So panel B, let's talk about panel B. Panel B is indicating or graphically representing average and marginal revenue curve under perfect competition. So the average curve in this case is horizontal straight line. So it is an horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis. And even here we are measuring quantity on the x-axis, and y-axis we are measuring average revenue and marginal revenue, and O is the origin. So here in this case, average revenue is a straight line, horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis. So horizontal straight line average revenue curve indicates that price or the average revenue, because this is perfect competition, and in perfect competition price is equal to price is same with average revenue. So this horizontal straight line indicates that price or average revenue remains same at OP. So price does not change, it is remaining constant at OP. And when the quantity is sold is increased, even when the quantity is increased, price will remain constant, the same at OP. That is what it means by horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis. So in this case, marginal revenue or MR, when AR is horizontally straight line, what happens to MR? MR curve coincides with the average revenue curve, since marginal revenue is equal to average revenue. So in this case, under perfect competition, when AR is a horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis, because price is given and it is constant at OP level, even though quantities of output or unit is increased, price will remain constant, and in that case marginal revenue will coincide with average revenue, because marginal revenue is equal to average revenue. So that is the figure 1, which is representing the total revenue, average revenue, and marginal revenue curve under perfect competition. And this is the graphical representation of the three curve under perfect competition.